Hello everyone, welcome to TalentEgg Talks live on Facebook and Instagram, straight from the Egg Carton in downtown Toronto. My name is Mary Barrell and I'm president of TalentEgg, and I'm very pleased to host our chat today. Joining us today to answer all your questions is Gaby Patenaude from EDC. Gaby is an HR professional specializing in early career program design and execution. She holds a Bachelor of Business Administration from Bishop's University with a focus on international business and HR. Gaby currently combines both these areas of interest in her work on the talent acquisition team at Export Development Canada. Having joined EDC 3 years ago as a new grad, she's lived the company's early career experience firsthand and now helps students kickstart their dream careers in international business and finance. Thank you so much for taking the time to come down and meet with us today and talk to our audience of students and grads. We're very pleased to welcome you, Gaby.
Thanks so much, Mary. It's such a pleasure to be here in Toronto. Happy to make the trip, and I'm so excited to share with students about EDC.
Yeah, you came this morning all the way from Ottawa to talk to our audience of students and grads, so we're very honored to have you. Okay. Maybe you could start by giving a little bit of background and explain to our audience what is EDC and how does it work in Canada?
Yeah, for sure. So Export Development Canada is Canada's export credit agency. So what that means is our essential goal is to help Canadian companies go, grow, and succeed in international markets. So we're helping Canadian businesses really take their business to the next level. We do that with providing financial products as well as knowledge-based products and connections to foreign buyers too across the world.
Terrific. Just a reminder to our audience, if you're just tuning in now, we want to get in as many of your live questions as possible. So if you have any questions for Gaby, provide a comment and we'll try to get to as many as we can today. We've had some pre-submitted questions and from our audience. We have one that is really about whether you could describe the type of positions that are available for students at EDC.
So our student program is pretty broad. It's open to students and new grads within 1 year of graduation. And the type of programs or positions that we really target are really across the board, just based on kind of what our products are and what we do for Canadian companies. The vast majority of our roles fit within either finance or international business. But beyond that, we have a ton of other support roles. So, marketing, human resources, legal, communications, really any other teams that are supporting our business. We have students in those roles as well.
So that's fantastic. And what year are you beginning to hire students into these different divisions?
Yeah, so it really depends on the team itself. But really, we've had students, that are fresh and new grad or fresh in their first year, have never had a corporate job before, all the way to students, at the PhD level. So it really goes up from students that are just looking to get their foot in the door to students that, have really excelled in past internships and opportunities and want to take their career to the next level.
So it really is an open door in the sense of depending on no matter what you're studying, you could find a role at EDC.
Yeah, for sure.
And could you talk about the onboarding process that happens at EDC? How do you bring a new hire on board and get them familiar with EDC?
Yeah, for sure. So it really starts, their first day at EDC. All of our students are located in our Ottawa head office. We do that because we like students to really live the headquarter experience. We have a beautiful 18-story building and, it's a great kind of, bumping place to be working. So it starts there. Their first day starts with a first day onboarding where they really get to know the organization, get set up with all their first day equipment, meet their team. And then from there, it goes into more of a team-specific orientation. So really, getting that job-specific knowledge and being up to speed. And then there's also kind of a more corporate-wide orientation that they attend. So it's about a 3-day series. And what happens there is they really get to know, the behaviors that people exhibit at EDC and the processes and what our company essentially does to help Canadian businesses. And then we also have a student-specific orientation that's put on by actual students or past students. And that's really for students that are a bit newer into the corporate world, and just some kind of tips on how to navigate life as an employee, doing that kind of school to workplace transition.
Yeah, it's always a challenge for sure.
Yeah.
And having that capacity to be able to ease the road and give people pointers when they first join is really key to really your employer culture, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure.
How would you describe EDC's culture?
So like you mentioned, I've been at EDC for about 3 years. I joined Halloween of 2016, so always a fun day to join an organization. And really, when I think about the culture at EDC, just kind of from personal experiences, I'd say if I could sum up the culture in one word, it would be supportive. Whatever any employee wants to do, or a new project they want to do, a new process they want to implement, there are a ton of people kind of backing them up and really cheering them on. Or, I've implemented a couple new things, and there's always someone to send you a quick message and say, that was really cool, that was awesome, I want to be involved. So I'd really say the culture is very supportive. Everybody is really good at what they do, and we have tons of experts in the building, but really what they're able to do is take a step back from their jobs and really help people that are kind of newer in the organization. And what that really allows for is younger employers or early career professionals to really excel as they're starting out their careers.
So they have almost mentors that can work with you as you're developing.
Yeah, and the other thing I would say, just in terms of the culture at EDC, is there's a culture of kind of bringing your whole self to work. So I know when I made the transition from school to the workplace, I was kind of nervous, I was super involved in school, and I didn't want to be sucked into the corporate world and kind of lose that part of me. And
right.
So there are a ton of ways to really get involved with EDC, involved in committees, different, our gym facilities, there's running groups, really different ways to bring your whole self to work.
That's great. Actually, I have a question from Facebook that's a bit more diving deep into the culture side.
Okay.
Does culture fluctuate between different departments across the organization?
Yeah, for sure I'd say there's kind of a general culture at EDC, but obviously each team brings a bit of a different flavor to the work they're doing. So it definitely fluctuates just in terms of the work they're doing as well. There are different personalities that come with each job, but really we're a very inclusive culture.
That's great. We have a question from Instagram. Where can I go to find more information on co-op positions available at EDC?
Yeah, for sure. So we have a career site at edc.ca/careers. If you log into that website, you can actually navigate to a student-specific page, and on there's all the key information about when to apply, what jobs we have available, kind of what student life is at EDC, and kind of what that entails.
Great, that's very helpful. We have a question here from Facebook. Do you hire students currently enrolled in a bachelor degree program? And if so, what is the best way to present little to no experience on your CV? Always a challenge for young professionals when they've had limited opportunities to work in advance of landing their first big job. What advice do you have for them?
Yeah, I would say don't be nervous. It's always okay to apply to a job that you don't have, 100% of the qualifications for, because we don't just look kind of at qualifications and experience. We look at, the whole package. So I would say, don't try to oversell yourself if you're a newer to the workplace and you don't have that much experience. Just be honest. Because some of the roles that we're looking for are really for people that are looking to develop. We have some roles that we're looking for people that purely have a customer service background. Or so someone the other day was in an interview and really sold, their experience at a fast food chain, and I was just blown away. They mentioned, their leadership skills and hardworking and prioritization and a fast pace. So just as long as you're able to kind of demonstrate what you have without overselling yourself, I would say you're good to go.
That's terrific advice. And does it matter, we often tell young candidates to incorporate work that they might have done with student associations or, even in community work as part of their development as a person, showing themselves as a whole person. Mm-hmm. Does that help?
Yeah, absolutely. And I would definitely recommend that to any student or new grad that's applying. Demonstrate that you've done more than just go to class or go to work. Show that you've gone above and beyond that and really involved yourself. Because when we're looking at resumes, we're looking beyond just kind of a one lens perspective of how to apply. We're looking really at the whole person. So we value extracurriculars as much as experience or education because there's some pretty awesome work that you can do through extracurriculars, and we're looking for students and new grads with those skills.
That's what I've heard from other employers as well, that it's crucial to have those technical skills that people go to school to get in their degrees and diplomas, but the other aspect of the key thing that is really important is maybe core competencies or soft skills, those things that kind of make up a human being and make a person effective in a group.
Right.
Is that important for EDC? And if so, what would you recommend to candidates?
Mm-hmm. So when we're interviewing candidates, we're definitely looking for, students that are super engaged. So generally we can find that with people that can make parallels between what their experience is and what's on a job description. So, showing really what experience you have, but then also going above that and showing really what outstanding work you've done to really make a difference in those positions. So that's kind of where the engagement piece comes in.
Right. So this actually connects to an Instagram question that just came in. What do you look for in a resume? Clearly, you want some customization too, making it relevant to the position that they're applying for.
Mm-hmm, for sure. So if there's usually when we have our student and new grad posters, we have a job description that's fully equipped with, the competencies we're looking for, the experience we're looking for, or just kind of the general, attitude that we're looking for. So if you can demonstrate that on a resume and again, draw those parallels, it really demonstrates that you would be able to do that role. So, really giving examples of what type of work you've done or showing how you specifically have made change in your past positions.
And I guess to that end, to that point, maybe you could describe what kind of person you've found to be successful and effective at the EDC.
Yeah, so I would say I think the most successful students and new grads that we've had are students that are invested in our organization. So, they've heard about EDC before and they really want to work there. So that's their goal. And so when students and new grads come into interview and they're prepared, they know a ton about our organization, I feel like those are the students that can really demonstrate that they'd be able to do the job and then prove that once they enter the organization. And students especially that are very engaged, so not only doing, their day-to-day job and then going home, but really immersing themselves in kind of the whole company versus just their specific role. So getting involved in, again, the committees that are offered or, trying out new things or job shadowing or really getting involved kind of on the organizational level.
Terrific. There's a question here on Instagram. Do you accept master's students?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we do accept master's students. There's not one particular role that's looking for a master's student, but typically if it is a hard requirement, we will mention it on the job poster. But we have a ton of students that come in, as an example, like a master's of international business, come into more of our business development, our global trade side of things. So that's definitely something that we look at in terms of a candidate.
Terrific. This is an interesting question from Instagram. Okay. I think it's a really good one. In what ways does EDC connect students to a global business network, specifically while in a co-op position? Somebody's done a little bit of research.
Yeah, good. I like it. That's what we look for. So just the nature of our organization is very international. Obviously, there are some teams more than others that have kind of that international connection. If you're looking once again on our business development side of things, you're working directly with our Canadian companies that are exporting, and so you get those relationships. Then on the international side of things, we have offices all around the world because the goal is to kind of ensure that we have feet on the ground in all different types of markets and industries around the world. So we have those kind of pockets of knowledge and expertise around the world. And so, once a year, everybody from around the world that works at EDC comes together in our head office, and there's really that opportunity for conversation and learning about how EDC is helping companies all across the world.
Wow, so if you're a candidate who, a young person who's curious about the world, there's real opportunity to experience in working in other areas across the globe?
Yeah, so our students are all based in Ottawa, but there's definitely opportunity to, chat with people that are based outside of Ottawa and kind of pick their brain on the work they're doing and collaborate with them.
Fantastic. Sounds exciting. What should I expect? This is from Facebook. What should I expect in an interview for a role at EDC?
So once you've passed the initial kind of applying to a role, being screened in, and your profile matches what a team's looking for, you'll typically come in and do a 15-minute interview, either in person or a video interview. And after that, the 15-minute interview is typically with a recruiter. So we're looking kind of for general fit and just kind of whether you would be a good match for EDC's program. And then you meet with the team itself. So the team will actually walk you through kind of the day-to-day life of a student on their team. And then they'll go over some kind of competency-based questions or situational questions to kind of see how you would act in a certain situation and just see if, you have initiative or you're able to think on your feet or kind of demonstrate what you've done in the past and how you could apply that at EDC.
Oh, that sounds like a thorough process. And then at what point do you make your final decisions and extend an offer?
So after candidates have met with the different teams, we come back together with the hiring managers and we discuss the candidates. And after that, we reach out to all candidates just to let them know kind of where we're at in the process. And then at that point, we reach out to make offers.
Wonderful. Okay, well, thank you. Going back to some of our pre-submitted questions, can you, what are the key skills and competencies that EDC is looking for in their students and grads that are joining the organization?
So really, we're looking for students that are able to take initiative. So not just come into the job and do kind of what's been done before, but really, we're really big into continuous improvement at EDC. So really being able to come into the role and make positive change. So we're looking for students, who have taken initiative. Once again, who haven't just maybe gone to class, but have made a difference on their campus or gone above and beyond. Every team is looking for a student with kind of some specific skills.
Right.
So it kind of depends per team, but I would just say, generally engaged people that are willing to learn, that are able to demonstrate that they could really make positive difference at EDC.
Great. So how many students do you actually hire per year? And I guess there's the student programs and the co-ops, but then also, graduate first job kind of full-time roles as well. Can you describe just what the ratio is of that?
Yeah, for sure. So generally, we have about over 100 students in our student program. So the student program is for students that are currently in school and new grads within a year of graduation. So it's kind of under the same bucket. So with that, it's about over 100 students. And with that comes a really structured program. So because we've had so many students come through our doors as students and then move on to become professional employees, teams know what to expect and they really give their students valuable work to really add to their resume, projects they can own and things things that they can run with on their own.
Well, that kind of leads to another question that we had from Facebook. Could you talk about what the growth opportunities are at EDC for somebody who's successful within the organization?
Yeah, for sure. So I like to say that if you're in a position, let's say you're a new grad applying to a student role, kind of the ultimate goal is to equip you with really valuable work, to really build up your skills toolbox and move on to a professional, full-time permanent position at EDC. So we have a great conversion rate in terms of students coming in as a student, really equipping themselves with those skills and then staying on for their career. And it's kind of a joke that there are a lot of people at EDC that have started as students. So, you'll hear someone say, I started here 15 years ago as a student. And it's crazy to think that so many people have loved the organization so much that they've stayed with us and that all that started with a student role. So it's really something, we really value our students and we really equip them with that experience to really propel their career.
It must be a great experience because, it's quite uncommon these days for retention to be a place that young people will invest so many years of their life. It's really great to hear. Mm-hmm. And what kind of professional development programs do you run?
Yeah, so we have a whole committee at EDC called the Growing Professionals Committee. So it's for early career employees, either in the student program or, maybe early on in their careers. And what the goal of the program is to really bring students together and new grads to really form that community of younger professionals that are looking to move forward with their career. So some events that we throw are more social events. So recently there was an ice cream social event, or they'll go see a football game in Ottawa to really get students integrated into life in Ottawa. But then there are also professional development events. So recently we had a whole workshop on career development. So exactly what conversations you should be having with your leaders, or what resources can you tap into to really bring your career to the next level. Another workshop we had through that committee was a personal branding workshop. So really, how to equip yourself with the knowledge to really have a positive brand in the workplace and how that'll help you throughout your career.
So is it, EDC sounds like a fabulous place for somebody who's got initiative and ambition. Is it competitive there?
I would say competitive in the best way. Everybody is always super busy and always working their 110%, but I've never felt like it was cutthroat. Coming in as a new grad myself, I was a bit nervous. I had some experience, but not a crazy ton. And there was always someone there that was willing to just, sit with me, explain things to me, ask what it is I was truly passionate about, and then give me projects that align with that. So I would say competitive in the sense that a lot of people want to work here. So, the process to get in is quite competitive. But once you're in, it's a very kind of nurturing and supportive environment.
That's great. There's a question from Facebook now. How can I stand out during the hiring process? Mm-hmm.
So EDC hosts a number of events. And so I would say if you're able to attend one of our events at EDC, or if we're on a campus, to make that personal connection is always key. But then, also virtual connection. So connecting with someone from the organization on LinkedIn and learning more about the company. What we really seek in students is students that know a lot about EDC, are invested in the company. Mm-hmm. So that's really how students stand out.
Really by doing their research and getting to know you on a personal level and to some effect.
Yeah, for sure.
Great. And here's one from Instagram. And I think you addressed this a little bit, but I'm not sure that in such detail. But what kind of job experience are you expecting from a new grad? Mm-hmm.
So for the new grad level, we're typically looking for candidates that have some internship or co-op experience in the past. So typically experience that relates to their field of study. So a way that they've demonstrated that not only have they been able to really excel in an educational setting, but really apply those skills in a workplace setting, really. So it depends kind of on the team exactly what they're looking for, but in terms of experience, just demonstrating that you've done, positive work internships in the past, and to really demonstrate that you'd be able to do similar work at EDC.
Okay, that's great. So not extensive necessarily, but some experience is useful.
Right, for sure. And I would definitely say, quality over quantity. If a student has had one great, internship that really aligns with what we're looking for, that's great too. And as long as they're able to kind of, in the interview process, make it about them and show really, maybe the team did some great work, but how were they a part of that, or what was their role in that, and show how they made a difference.
And do you recruit from across Canada? Is that part of what your goal is?
Yeah, for sure. So we recruit nationally across Canada. So if you're in a university, coast to coast, we're looking at your profile as it's coming through. And we really love that diversity because, students from different universities bring a different perspective. So we're totally open to that.
Great. And are you involved in any social enterprise or corporate social responsibility initiatives?
I'm really glad you brought that up, Mary, because it's something that a lot of students actually come to EDC because of our involvement in the community.
Really?
We have a whole community investment team that's dedicated not just, one single time of the year, but really throughout the year is really involved in kind of representing EDC in the community. Something we do is a volunteer day where every single employee at our head office and in our other locations is going out into the community and working with organizations to make positive change.
That's really important when young people really aspire to have careers that have some impact as well, on more than just the bottom line.
Yeah.
So it's an inspiring story for a lot of young candidates to hear.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, like I said previously, it's a place where you can have positive impact. And when you look at kind of the stats, younger people entering the workplace are looking for a workplace with purpose. They're making a difference. So an example of that is last year, a group of us, we were really into running. So EDC supported us in bringing a group of 11 people to Guatemala to run a marathon up a volcano.
Oh my gosh.
And what workplace supports that type of thing? But we made great bonds with the people we worked with, and then we brought that back into the workplace, all these cross-functional, relationships, and it was great to make long-lasting friendships because of our workplace.
So is it important for the employees to understand the connection of Export Development Canada to the communities from which they emerge as part of their contribution to the Canadian economy? Yeah,
for sure. And I think companies and candidates really value that. CSR is part of our organization, and it's not just kind of a side afterthought. It's really how we do business. Is the business we're doing, good for the environment, good for the community, good for the Canadian economy?
Well, that's wonderful. I noticed that we're running out of time, Gabby. I wondered if there was some final thoughts that you wanted to leave with our audience about, your work with students and hatching a career at EDC.
I would say, we have some key recruitment dates that we look for. So we have terms in winter, summer, and fall, as well as some that run throughout the year. So I would just say always keep an eye on our career site because you never know when the perfect opportunity is going to come up. And don't be afraid to apply because we're looking for all types of candidates with various experience.
And they might not make it the first time, but then when they graduate, they might be able to get that job.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep applying because eventually, the stars will align and something will come of it.
Well, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you today, Gabby. Gabby, as I mentioned, came all the way from Ottawa to join us and share her knowledge of EDC and how to launch your career in such a fabulous organization. It's been a real pleasure. For those of you who might have missed the earlier part of the live event, we're going to be posting a recording of this and posting an Instagram story so you can see it all. Thank you for joining us. Please don't miss our upcoming TalentEgg Talks. We'll bring you more information about wonderful opportunities to develop your career and hatch your future dream job. Another day, another TalentEgg Talks. Thank you.
Thanks.